Let's see. Do I look today? Today, I didn't go for a walk. I rested. I got a braid in the back, and I was thinking about the situation in the Middle East with Lebanon, Syria, Turkey, Afghanistan, and even the problems we're having with Korea, which I guess they want to have a satellite put up in space, which wow, it's very refreshing. It's like somebody asked the question, like, why don't they, what would it violate them to have somebody else carry it? But anyway, it looks like there might have to be another war, the way politics are, and because the fighting is futile. So, and we have a lot of hot spots in the world, with I want to say, in some ways, the type of politics that we have that is geared towards the corporations and the banks is going to escalate the hostilities that these regions already have, like Israel, the Palestinians, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon. All these places are even Greece. They're put under a lot of strain and stress in places in Africa with the Baha, whatever they are. And you got the Isaac. We have all these different groups. In South America is another hot spot. We have all these different hot spots, and really they have all the same objective. That they want to have some type of way of being self-sufficient for their people and themselves, and some control of the money, and a lot of situations like Greece and stuff like that with the euro and the loans, and even like in the Middle East, the housing loans, the banking, all these things had affected people in these already devastated areas, to where they really don't ever see another way but hostility. And in some places like Korea, I think they just really would like to be left alone. I think that I think I think that I think that the way that they're being sort of put into the situation, into the mix of the I guess like the powers that be's interest in them, and clearly they do not want to be involved. And I think that's another thing. It's like oh, we gotta spread capitalists around the world, and you can see the results. It's very I can only speak like locally and by myself. It's very discontent. I'm sure there are some very fine qualities in capitalists, and is that the only class that were we supposed to be a Republican, of one nation under God, whatever. So I don't know how far, I don't know how far we have to stray to try to justify or defend some of the negativities that we have instead of correcting them. When you have excuses and you got somebody else to blame, that you don't have corrections. And I see that some vast corrections that could be made, to alleviate a lot of the pressure. I think that everybody's looking for instant action. I think one of them is that we have to fix the United States base, or the poorest of the poor. Because if you look at places that are doing very well in this economic time, it's because they invested in their children in such a way that for benefit the community. And I don't mean to benefit the 1% or benefit that. I think where it benefits the communities, where we're more susceptible to be more mindful about how we manufacture stuff, like not to pollute, because like if we had, well, anyway, it looks like we're going to go to war. I'm going to check the stock market. It looks like it's trying to adjust itself. I think I spoke on that last week. I guess I do a lot of videos. But my biggest thing is I think that because of the history of the finance that you make during war, it does generate money. Either it's through them gathering up goods, either to fill up our museums here, or because people leave stuff behind. There's empty places leaving behind, and I know the Arabs, like, instead of trying to sell their stuff or whatever, they smushed it up. So we have a very strange mindset where we're dealing with very young children that or children that grew up with only knowing war, that are in their adult age over there, and it's a very young population. So when you have a very young population and all they've known is that their survival depended on them shooting somebody before they get shot at, or bombs coming down all the time, it's not one geared to where they're even learning how to have a career, or able to have education. And I think that America and the other places, the propaganda that they instated in these folks was one to where even after we left, that they're so devastating from seeing a lot of killing. They're so devastating from the lack of shelter because of their places being bombed, from the lack of getting supplies because of roads and bridges not being able to bring them supplies, or either boats, or and sometimes in some instances not even planes, so they could go without a lack of food, because the land's getting torn up by bombings and mines and tanks and running over it, and the lack of clothes, because again the lack of supply. So you have people that their basic human needs are not being able to get met. So then when you have that problem, you do have people that are in a panic type of mode, a survival mode, and it causes for more what do you call it, impulsive type of behavior, so they're probably very crafty in the art of survival in that harsh situation, but they don't have any other skills that they're able to use in that like farming. You can't farm with bombs flying on your head or people putting mines in it. Fishing either gets erupted, anything basic like that, and so they I don't see them any other type of manufacturing except for pulling out the natural life of our planet through the crude oil. So anyway, so it's just gonna have to happen because of the the masses of being so devastated poor. And I think with the United States, with the school systems, with here, there really is such a thing as ignorance, and there's a big difference between being naive and ignorance. There really is. Because ignorant, it doesn't want to learn. It just simply refuses. Naive, you just haven't, you just never seen this shit before the first time or whatever, or you're new to it or whatever. And we've all been new to the world. So, so it's not like we have naive people here, and they're very skilled in their surviving, and when push comes to shove, and if they get any more pressure on them, it just poof, it just the way it is. It's just part of survival. It doesn't matter what the agenda or what the Republicans bottom line is, which is doesn't seem like it's in the best interest. I think they need to. I don't even like the politics. I don't even like the people that got up there. They're trying to get elected. They just so I see that with with this election year coming up, things getting hot, and this all depends on how, because it's not going to depend on, because because of the type of screwy control and with the propaganda they put on people, that there is a lot of hostile. When I was reading with that Anne Freud, they thought that with all the sex and all this stuff, and they would make them more docile, they would make them more quiet. Like people get whooped because little kids, they just go. But it happened is the opposite. They got more hostile, which is okay if we still were going to have the draft and you would get rid of half that population to go to war. But we don't. So we do have a more hostile type of society because of the behavioralists that was did the studies back in World War One and World War Two. Thought that the type of propaganda, to help sell capitalists, but that's when we were also manufacturing big time. So we're not manufacturing big time, and it's also a fast and easy solution to keep a certain group down, like with the sexual and the physical abuse, because they could get them more into a sex career, and which was also very popular during wartime. So we do have a big sex industry that is is full of disease, AIDS, hepatitis, gonorrhea, trichomoniasis, the list goes on. But we have a big pharmaceutical with Turkey, Afghanistan, South America interests too, and where the biggest problem is they don't want the people that the natives there, like say in Afghanistan, that have the poppy seeds, that have the extra soil to make a lot of the you can make heroin, or you can make other pharmaceutical stuff that we're using today. So you can make street pharmaceuticals, or you can you make hospital pharmaceuticals. That guy's heroin. Whatever he has, it's contagious. So anyway, or who knows? So we have a thing where So there is an interest. It not only in the sex industry, also has an interest in the pharmaceutical industry. It's a multi-million-dollar, $1 trillion industry, coming up with different cures for sexually, transmitted diseases. Just like today, I had to have a little help with some of my yard work, and Rod came by, and he's like, "Oh, they got female Viagra," and I'm like, "Oh, it's lovely. I don't know, why would you need it? Just a female. Does the guy really care if she has a hole? You just stick your thing in there. What do you care?" Because, well, it's supposed to get you horny. I'm like, that would be fine if you're married and you have a mate. But think about it, you're single like me, you know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, if you got lucky enough to find someone you're interested in, please, you wouldn't need a pill. But if you do need one, please. Anyway, I'm just looking at him. I'm like, I'm a female. I'm in menopause. You know, the thinning of the inner lining, and I lost him. But anyway, getting back, I digress. But my point is with him was that he thinks that because of the way the propaganda with sex is, that because I'm supposed to want to be having sex, even with, I mean, he's my friend and everything. He kept saying, like, "Oh, you like my sister, you like my sister," and I just kept looking at him because at the time I was nagging. I realized I was nagging. I was like, "Oh, that's not good." But anyway, so he has this opinion that I'm supposed to think in this certain way and be this certain way, and and so I can see very in him the type of how strong the propaganda is. It's not easy for me to see it in myself, but I can see it very well in others sometimes, and the propaganda towards the sexual industry is all tied up in the war industry, because the war is a big thing. The uniforms, the transportation. In the transportation, you got to have gas. You got to have all different type of rates of vehicles, from ships to etc. So, in short, I'm thinking, because of the propaganda, because of where we're at, not only with the Federal Reserve, not only with the different corporations, and also with the way our fuel and our food and everything is right now, and the intent that people have with the way they're just not happy. There's a lot of... Anyway, so I smell war in the air. Well, of course, World War III. I smell World War III in the air. And you got to think about, what is it, Lebanon that has I don't know what they're doing, but I don't personally. This is my prediction. Korea. I get South and North Korea mixed up, but the one that is more, I want to say, I won't even name names, so I'll mess up the silly guy's name. Okay, I'm going to say Korea, the ones that are messing, shooting off their land to air missiles. I say they're going to try to shoot Seattle. They said Alaska. The Defense Department said Alaska. They want to shoot white people. Alaska got not enough people. That's my prediction.